Well, you were talking about Tim Waltz, and I wanted to bring this up real quick. Everybody's talking about stolen valor. So this is one of the reasons why people hate Tim Waltz.
When I talk to my constituents in southern Minnesota, I don't care if they're Republican, Independent, Democrat, it doesn't matter to them. When I tell them, when I was in Afghanistan, you know what our troops were worried about? They were worried about their families' health care, and they were worried about their pensions. I said, do you think that's really what you want them to be worrying about?
Guys, look it up. He did not serve in Afghanistan once.
Their friends and colleagues are being shot on a daily basis, and yet at the end of the day, they have to worry about that. When I talk to my
Tampon Timmy thinks he was in Afghanistan in the Middle East.
He looks good. He looks better than he does there.
He looks like a giant lesbian.
He looks like he has found Ozempic, and he's also been eating some biscottis and tea with Nancy Pelosi.
Don't shit on the biscottis and tea.
He looks very good. I will say that. I don't necessarily know that he looks strong. He looks
like a big teddy bear.
He does look like a big teddy bear.
We got another clip.
Yeah.
The country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you described your service in the National Guard.
I wish I didn't know him.
You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone.
Shout out to Dana Bash.
Yeah,
people said that she would shill for the Democratic Party, and she just flat out calls out Tim Waltz for stolen valor.
You have to call him out. I mean,
like, when do you say that if you're him? How do you have a straight face? How do you repeat the lie?
Yeah, I think if I'm Dana Bash, if I sit here through this interview and genuinely I feel that there's some fuckery, Fox News would hire you. Switch sides. Jump ship. If Dana Bash sat there and the full 43 minutes was not released, but Dana Bash goes and says, I can't do this anymore. I can't sit behind the lies. I sat in front of these two dullards and there wasn't a thought behind their eyes. But they don't know what they're doing.
That paycheck, though, it's got to be stupid.
It's got to be.
Stupid.
It's got to be.
Continuing on. I'm sorry.
All good.
A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing uniform.
Answer the question!
My service in a public school class.
Come on!
Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they.
What does that mean? I'm sorry, my record speaks for itself, talking about your 24 years in the National Guard.
And I speak like they do. I lie.
That's not the problem. Don't talk about your record as an educator. Okay, cool, you were a history teacher and you were an assistant football coach. You know how many teachers and assistant football coaches I knew? You know what they were? Losers. You ever see on Twitter, they were talking about all the money that he reportedly has?
Yeah.
Guess how much he has in his 401k?
Probably
nothing.
Oh, did he cash it out?
Nothing. He never had it. He never had it. You know how many assets he has? Nothing. You know what he has? The governor's mansion. That's it. It's not his. Yes. So don't tell me. This guy's shady, dude. Tucker Carlson, once again, he referred to him as he thinks that he's a predator. And the way he talks, it's weird. And I'm sorry to yell so much into the mic right there, but it just pisses me off because, like, answered the question. Once again,
understandable.
We're talking about these politicians, and it pisses me off that they like to filibuster and they like to throw like a word salad instead of directly answering the question.
Right.
My apologies.
I do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am.
Way to pull that out of your ass. First of all, nobody was talking about school shootings. We get that it's a touchstone for the American people. It's a hard thing. I would assume, I don't have children. Obviously, you have a child, but not that age yet. I would assume anybody who has a child and sends their kid to school every day has some sense of fear that, you know, that's going to happen, that there's going to be a school shooter. But why are you bringing that up when it has nothing to do with the conversation of you didn't serve in Afghanistan?
Because all they do is walk around the main question.
And they think people are going to be dumb, and they think people are going to forget that she asked that question. It just pisses me off,
right.
And I hate that we're being gaslit.
I think he thinks that if he talks for 5 minutes beforehand and just pulls shit out of his ass, that the questions are just going to go away.
And I think it's going to work.
And I genuinely, like, watching this entire interview, I don't know a single question that was actually answered.
You know where my heart is, and again, my record has been out there for over 40 years.
And you were lying about it.
And the idea that you said that you were in war. Did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English, you told my grammar's not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an...
He goes, my wife told me my grammar's not always correct. That's not grammar. Your idea,
Yeah.
What you're trying to do is just off your grammar. Grammar is a word. Grammar is an adjective. Grammar is
sentence.
a misspeaking.
Yes.
This is like a whole different idea. You weren't even in the vicinity of the Middle East. You
But
were
in his
in the
mind, he
National
was.
Guard.
In his mind, he was.
You weren't overseas in the National Guard. You were here in the National Guard. People have come out. The people that he served with came out and said, Tim Walz left. We knew we were going to go to the Middle East. We knew we were going to go to Afghanistan. He left prior to run for Congress. I just don't get it.
I don't either.
An attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service.
But you're demeaning all of our intelligence.
I just
My grammar's not
Literally.
always correct.
And he demeaned everybody else's service who served with him for lying about abandoning them.
Yeah.
This is crazy, dude. And going forward, I mean, we're going to talk about his brother, obviously.
I was going to say, do you want to bring up the statement from his brother real quick?
I'll find it.
Tim Walz's brother, through Facebook, which is just funny because it reminds me of any of my aunts or uncles that use Facebook, and they just
All of
comment.
them.
They comment without any realization of, oh, this is going to be seen by everybody, which is kind of what makes me laugh the most about this whole topic, because Tim Walz's brother came out and I believe said something along the lines of, my brother is not somebody you would want to hold a position of power, and, you know, his character, all that stuff, which just goes to show, you know, after being questioned about your stolen valor and all you do is walk around the sentence, and then on top of that you bring up the school shootings, how dumb do we have to be to realize that he is trying to walk around all questions that basically just say, hey, I'm a piece of shit, and you're going to just take it, turn it, and say, well, I speak a lot about, you know, school shootings, and you know, I respect the middle class of America, and I do all these things. All you're doing is just filling holes and not answering actual concerns.
Apparently, we're very stupid, because this is Tim Walz's brother. This is what he said, so it's on the screen right here, right over here. Alrighty, it says Tim Walz's brother says he is considering joining forces with Trump. Wow. It says his brother is, quote-unquote, not the type of character you want making decisions about the future. A little bit odd. You talk about his Facebook. Jeff Waltz's Facebook profile was discovered by Laura Loomer, who found several stunning posts. Quote, the stories I could tell, not the type of character you want making decisions about your future. Quote, end quote, excuse me. He said in a comment. I haven't spoke to him in 8 years. I'm 100% opposed to all his ideology. My family wasn't given any notice. He was selected and denied security the days after. Wow. The comments stemmed from a March 30th, 2023 post after Trump was convicted, where Jeff Waltz said, we've just become a third world banana republic. Wow.
These two lookers, let me tell you something. I just love the fact that everybody in our media, in this regard, you know, everybody in our news that is running for some position of power or anything like that, like, look at these two lookers. Look at them side by side. These are a headline.
Yeah.
These are a headline. And on top of that, how do you sit here and post that on Facebook and say, oh, I actually did think about, you know, joining forces with Trump? That is insane. That is huge.
And I'm sorry, too. How is it just becoming news now when this was in 2023?
Right. And also, I think this goes to show the Democrats did not do a clean sweep before they decided who was going into office. If they genuinely wanted to take over a position of power, why choose Kamala and Waltz?
I don't know, man.
Why choose Kamala and Waltz?
And it shows. I mean, the American people are reacting. And honestly, I thought that Kamala would, like, win, not, like, in a blowout after...
Correct, but I was actually rewatching a Joe Rogan episode where him and Tim Dillon were talking about if Michelle Obama runs, she would win.
I think so, too.